When I first moved to New York City in 2017, I specifically researched zip codes and neighborhoods that were the richest areas in town, and then I decided to rent an apartment there. Now, when I first moved to New York City, I had a few friends. I'm no longer friends with them at this point because our lives have veered in very different directions. But I remember at the time they felt very confused and they felt a little bit angry and, dare I say, a little jealous that I was moving in this manner. My friends at the time, they told me that, you know what, you should move to more affordable places. You should move to Brownsville. Okay, you should move to South Bronx before the gentrification. You should, you should move to East New York. And no shade to any of these areas because I've definitely lived in a few of these areas throughout my time living in New York City. But when I first moved to New York City with my two kids and no help, no nanny, okay, no partner, nothing, I was like, you know what? I want to live in the richest part of town for my children. I want my children to go to the top-rated public school, which, if you didn't know, in New York City is District 2. I wanted my children to be around an environment that celebrated education. I wanted my children to go to a school where learning was taking place and classroom disruptions were not taking place. I wanted my children to network with other influential families, and I also wanted to do the same. And as a solo mom at the time, I also wanted to up-level my dating standards, which I definitely did. And when I tried to explain this to my friends several years ago, they just didn't get it. They're like, I don't understand why you wouldn't just get a 3-bedroom apartment in like Mott Haven in the Bronx. I don't understand why you would, not get like at least a 2-bed apartment, in, East New York. You can get so much space. They couldn't understand why I wanted to rent a studio on the Upper East Side in one of the wealthiest zip codes. And it was at that point that I realized that I have incredibly high standards and I'm not going to lower that for my friends and for people who I thought were my friends. And I'm always going to keep my standards high, not just for myself, but for my children. And this standard, this high standard, and running a very strict program in tandem has benefited us to the point where we are now living in our dream luxury apartment on the top floor with an incredible view of the city. And I wouldn't be in this comfortable position as a Black stay-at-home mom that is very comfortable and that is now homeschooling her kids had I not kept my standards very high.